If you're looking to create, grow, and sustain your wealth, download and subscribe to the Pain Points of Wealth podcast at BeBullish.com with Bob, Ryan, and Chris Payne. It's your podcast for market insights, money tips, and real talk on the economy. Download and subscribe at BeBullish.com.
This episode is brought to you by Progressive Insurance. Fiscally responsible, financial geniuses, monetary magicians. These are things people say about drivers who switch their car insurance to Progressive and save hundreds. Visit Progressive.com to see if you could save. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates. Potential savings will vary, not available in all states or situations.
It's Another Side of Midnight.
Political humorist T.J. McCormick.
Now, to the Bernard McGurk studios of 77 WABC. Here's T.J. McCormick.
Good morning. Hello there. It is 7 minutes past the hour. My name is TJ McCormick. This is Another Side of Midnight with me, TJ McCormick, all around the whole wide country on Red Apple Audio Networks and broadcasting to you from right here in New York City.
Radio springs some forgotten song.
We give this song to you as a gift if you're out there in this dark part of the morning and you got clear highway in front of you. Punch it! Punch it!
When I get lonely and I'm for sure I've had enough.
There's no cops.
She sends a comfort coming in from
And if they're there, they're not going to catch you. Not with this song.
We've got a thing that's cold that I love. We've got a light in the sky.
This sets the tone, I think. Definitely. It sets the bar that I've got to live up to at 8 minutes past the early hour. Really pressure on myself. Keep going fast. Drive fast, everybody. Drive fast. And if you are with your beautiful lover, do that fast too. Wait, this actually, okay, now peaks and valleys. It's always peaks and valleys. This is what my therapist told us. Our marriage therapist. Peaks and valleys. Yeah, woo! Okay? This should get you where you need to be with your lover, right here.
No more speed, I'm almost there.
I didn't even realize what the lyrics were.
Gotta be cool now, gotta take care. Last car to pass, here I go.
Uh-oh. Get ready.
And the line of cars drove down real slow.
Where's the cigarettes?
And the radio played that forgotten song.
Do-do-do-do-do-do.
Brenda Lee's coming on strong.
Yes.
And the newsman sang his same song.
Yes.
Oh, one more radar lover gone.
Another Side of Midnight.
When I get lonely and I'm sure I've had enough. She says the comfort coming in from above. We don't need to let her alone. We've got a thing that's called red eye love. We've got a light in the sky. We've got a thing that's called red eye love. We've got a thing that's called red eye love.
And that's pretty much how it goes right there. There you go. If you've just made your marriage better, you're welcome. And thank you for making the world a better place. Just right there from the privacy of your lovely boudoir. Good morning there, friends. Hello there, family. Good morning, family. It's, the Lord's Day. It's Sunday and it's, 10 minutes past the hour. And I really do set the bar. That's like a whole lot. I can't have that and Bill just going nuts on the levels and really pumping the juice into that number. And then all of a sudden to just, hit it and just go, the number of people that are dying at an alarming rate due to depression and anxiety. That's not, now I'm locked in to having to riff and, and just sort of go with it. And so there we go. So we'll try. 1-800-848-9222 is the number, by the way. All are welcome at all times, really on just about anything. I mean, if we're kind of in a real groove about something in particular, which we are clearly not yet, unless, you want to share anything about what we were just talking about during the song. But at any point, if there's something burning a hole in your pocket, or you have a burning desire to share something, 1-800-848-9222. We really cover just about everything on this show. So before, I try to get out and get a little bit of oxygen before the show. You have to. Going on the air at 2 a.m. Eastern, you really have to sort of build up a bit of a head of steam. Not too crazy because you got to be, somewhat measured on the radio-ish. Those first couple of minutes, notwithstanding that we just had fun. But so I'm out there. I was walking around and I go, it was right here in Midtown Manhattan. And it was about maybe 12:30 a.m. or so. And it's, no matter where you are in the whole wide world, anything after midnight, what Dad said is accurate. Stupid time. No matter where you are, no matter what you're doing, even when you're in a place where you're supposed to be out and the whole world is out, like Vegas, it's still stupid time. Now, it can be good stupid, but it's stupid time. And and it's actually a lot of different kinds of stupid going on at once. So I'm walking around the block and, I went to get my, the only vice that I have left in this whole flipping world, Diet Coke. I know right away there's people going, oh, he needs to stop. Believe me, it's better than what I used to do. So I went out, to the, bodega and, grabbed my Diet Coke. So I'm coming back and there's a guy. Okay. As I'm walking to the little shop, there was a gaggle of about 4 on the sidewalk, on this side street, on the sidewalk of a side street right here in Manhattan. Okay. I'll tell you, it was 49th Street and it was 48th, excuse me. And there were about 4 stunning, absolutely drop dead, gorgeous young ladies in they look like beauty pageant gowns. Amazingly low cut, brilliantly low cut, to the point where you just want to go say, you know what? Thank you. Just thank you for just thank you. Just sizzling dresses, these gowns. And as I get closer, I notice that they're taking a selfie and they're all kind of gathering behind one girl and she's got the duty of taking the photo for all of them. And as I get closer, I go into that battle in my brain of, do I do it? Do I not do it? Do I say, do I not? I just keep walking. Just no, don't be stupid. And as I get closer, I just start to say, hey, would you like a photo? Why didn't I say, would you like me to take your photo? Or, hey, looks like, you're having a hard time with you want me to, yeah. What I said was, would you like a photo? What in the sweet feathery Jesus would that mean? Would you like a photo? And I'm going to take out images like I have pigeons. There's here's a ratatouille I made the other, so it came out like that. So I hear myself say, would you like a photo? And they go, what? Okay. Cause they are that. They go, hi, right? And I said, I'm sorry. What I meant was now I'm in a conversation. Now, they say you're explaining, you're losing. Now I'm explaining instantly. These 4 stunning women constantly have men talking to them constantly have guys hitting on them, saying anything from inappropriate things to, you know, will you marry me, but whatever. And here comes this dorky guy, you know, not quite hyped up because he hasn't had his Diet Coke yet, thinking that he's somewhat kind of cool because, you know, once a comic, always a comic. Hey, you know, there's a radio station right at the top of the block there. And, yeah, you know, in my head. So would you like a photo? What I meant was, would you like me to take your photo? Which still doesn't sound right. Would you like me to? What I'm doing is I'm making an offer like that. And I'm also putting like a value judgment. Would you like? I should have just said, hey, you want me to take your picture for you? Hey, you want me to help you with that? That's what I should have done. Or what I really, really, really should have done, which you're all saying right now, I should have just kept walking. Cause then I wouldn't feel now I'm into my Walter Matthau mode. I should have just kept walking, Felix. I should have just kept moving, but I couldn't. They were gorgeous, Felix. I like an idiot. And that is my judgment. I can't tell you. And by the way, I never got around to telling the story. This is so me. And if my wife was listening, if the bombshell was listening, she knows I do have cool mode. I have a mode where I can just velvet. Glass, baby. Smooth as glass. And then I have just Bumble Stillskin. Just I do. People pay me to write words for them. And so I never got around to telling you the story. So a couple of weeks ago, I met, Boris Johnson. I met former British Prime Minister Boris Johnson at an event at Yale University. Okay. Yes. None of that makes sense when you're talking about this idiot. I walk onto the campus of Yale University and little silent alarms go off. A, conservative, and B, dummy. Just don't talk to this guy. Just don't, because you're not going to, nothing to your level is going to be discussed. Anybody at Yale. Anyway, so a buddy of mine, who, is on the board of this, group at Yale that sponsored an evening with Boris Johnson. Buddy of mine knows I'm a big Boris fan. Again, he's the guy with the hair, with the blonde hair, with the crazy messed up hair. He's, you know, and he was conservative Tory, right? And was prime minister. Got Brexit done, as he likes to say. Led them pretty damn successfully through COVID, and then hit some bumps in the road towards the end, and eventually stepped aside. Big mistake, never should have stepped aside. Anyway, so I go and I see this lecture, this talk by Boris Johnson, this Q&A, and then I'm on this really super duper exclusive list to go to a reception with him after. Okay. And there's a lineup to get a photo with Prime Minister Johnson. And I got on the line. And the whole time, the same process is happening as I get closer to Boris Johnson. The same thing happened to me as I got closer to those stunning 24-year-old. These girls, these young women were just shimmering in the dark. They are just staggeringly stunning young women. Boris Johnson's light was shining bright because he's just, the guy was one of the most powerful men in the world for 4 or 5 years and is one of the best writers on the planet, hands down, let alone conservative writers. Anyway, so as I'm getting closer to Boris Johnson, I'm going through all these things. Do I go witty? Do I go deferential? Do I go, do nothing? Or, you see, by the way, okay, look, that never occurred to me. And there's my problem. It didn't occur to me to go with nothing. I had to try to think of something. And again, 57 years old, it's about time that I start going with the alternative, which is, when it comes to saying, go with nothing. Just once. Woke up, Mr. Prime Minister, a pleasure. I would have, just, Mr. Prime Minister, a pleasure. Boom. You know what I said? So again, my wife is from Liverpool. And there's a nickname for people from Liverpool, and I'll explain it some other day, but they're called Scousers. It's a nickname for people from Liverpool. I'm trying to think, Manhattanites? But it's not even a nickname like that. That's like a designation, Manhattanites. But there's a dish that was created it's like a stew, and they all eat it in Liverpool, and so they're called Scousers. It's called Scouse. So, my wife is, and they're traditionally very, 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 very liberal, or, well, very labor-oriented and very non-conservative. And so I decide, and all of her family eventually fell in love with Boris Johnson and got it, and they understood, and they started to turn conservative because of Boris Johnson. So I figure that's my in. So as I get closer to Boris Johnson and people get their turn, I'm getting closer. I'm thinking, okay, I'm going to go with this guy. So I'm going to get a smile from this guy. I'm going to get a laugh. I'm going to get a laugh. I'm going to get a smile. I'm going to get a, hey, that's great to hear. Like he hasn't heard amazing, great things from people throughout his entire flipping career. Okay. This is a guy who has negotiated with world leaders. This guy delivered Brexit. This guy removed the UK from the European Union. That's big. And here comes dorky little munchkin in my little pinstripe suit. I look like a mascot. I look like a mascot for a Wall Street law firm. That's what I look like. If a Wall Street law firm made a doll to sell for charity, it would look like me that night in a little pinstripe suit, perfect little hair, little pocket square, adorable, perfect shiny shoes, gorgeous shiny shoes, by the way. I get up to him, put my hand out, and I say, Mr. Prime Minister. And that came out good. Came out well. And he says, oh, yes, good evening, yes, good to get, hello. And I said, my wife's family loves you. And I realized that it didn't come out. So I said, my wife's family loves you. My wife's from Liverpool. My wife's a Scouser. She Scouts, the whole family. They didn't like liberal, but now they used to be, and as I'm trying to catch myself, he's staring right past me, and insult to injury, the photographer and his handler, his like literary agent or something, his handler, both said to me, no talking, please, no talking. Please, we're not talking to the Prime Minister. And I said, oh yeah, okay, right, gotcha. And he just sort of looked at me, and I could see myself. I was having like an out of body experience. And in my mind, I'm thinking, you talk for a living. That's the problem. When you're not doing your living, just shut up. Just shut up when you're in these moments. If you think you're going to have an issue, just be quiet. One of these days, I'll tell you what happened to me when I met Steve Martin. I met Steve Martin once, and he is my idol. So if you think the Boris Johnson or the stunning girls on 48th Street, if you think that's any indication of just how much of a train wreck I can be, one of these days I'll tell you the story about meeting Steve Martin in Los Angeles. It's 24 minutes past the hour. We're going to take a break. 1-800-848-9222. E. Frank, John, and Ed are ready to go. When we come back, we will talk about a few things. And a little bit later in the program, we've got two return visits. We've got Bishop James Long from the Old Catholic Church of America. We're talking hell stuff. We're talking portals to hell. We're talking supernatural, paranormal, demonic stuff as we head into Halloween, everybody. That's coming up in the next hour. And we also will be speaking with the Greek goddess of comedy, Ellen Karas. We'll be right back. It's Another Side of Midnight with TJ McCormick on the Red Apple Audio Networks. 1-800-848-9222.
All night long. This is Another Side of Midnight with TJ McCormack. 77 WABC.
It's Another Side of Midnight.
Political humorist TJ McCormick.
Now, to the Bernard McGurk studios of 77 WABC.
Here's TJ McCormack.
Good morning, everyone. 29 minutes past the hour. It's Another Side of Midnight with TJ McCormick here on the Red Apple Audio Networks. The phone number is 1-800-848-9222. And, you know, flying right in the face of everything I was just acknowledging about my stupid self is this page 3 of yesterday's New York Post is next to, I mean, I don't know how I got to the article because there's an image of a model named Candace Swainpole. By the way, I'm sorry. I'm like indulging in all these comments and conversations about beautiful women, but she's right there in the newspaper. And about an hour and a half ago, they were right there on the sidewalk. It's Candace Swainpole is a model, and she was in the Victoria's Secret catwalk thing. Yeah. Anyway, right next to, adjacent to the lovely Candace Swainpole is an article about don't mind midlife, the best brain years, and it says there's good news for your golden years. I'm so perilously close. I think I'm in golden years now. You know what I said actually the other day? Did I realize I'm a mid-century modern? If I was a house, I'd be a nice sloped roof, a stone fireplace, sunken living room. I'm not minimalist. I really need to do that. We got to talk about early stage hoarding. We got to talk about that some week. Early stage hoarding. We got to talk about it. Anyway, so yes, I'm a mid-century modern. And so, yes, you get your, what is it? AARP. You get your card when you're 50, 55. I don't even return their inquiries. So it says, good news for your golden years. Our physical strength, skin elasticity, and fertility may all peak when we're young. Speak for yourself. But it says that in the journal Intelligence, the study focused on measurable, enduring psychological traits that have a direct bearing on real-world performance. Okay, I've just described to you real-world moments for me out there in the real world. I'm going to point the microphone. Yeah, right there. Okay, that's the real world out that window. Okay, that's 3rd Avenue right there. Okay, see it? Here is radio world. Here is media, broadcast, rock and roll. Out there, real world. So, it says, quote, for many of us, overall psychological functioning actually peaks between the ages of 55 and 60. An associate professor of psychology at the University of Western Australia. I hadn't gotten that far. Australia is just weird. Australia is bigger Canada with bigger bats. I remember when everybody wanted to go to Australia. Remember, like everybody said, "Oh, dream trip. We are saving up. It's like a 6-day flight, but it's so worth it. We are saving. Bill and I are going to go, and we're going to go, and we're going to do a walkabout." And we're going to see we're going to see the baby roos in the preserve. And I don't like the accent. I don't like there is no discernible food other than Marmite. I have zero desire to go to Australia. And I remember that was the rage. It was the thing. Qantas Airlines. Remember Rain Man? Definitely safest airline, never had a crash. Everybody wanted to take Qantas. They all wanted to go. Maybe it was the Paul Hogan thing. Maybe it was the Crocodile Dundee. Anyway, so this Australian study said that 5 key personality traits: extroversion, being an extrovert. Okay. Emotional. Okay. All right. Okay. So let me see. Self-grade here. Okay. So extroversion. Yes, totally. Look, I'm talking to you. Tomorrow, show up. I do TV. Tomorrow, I'll show up. 3,000 people in an auditorium. We'll have a chat. I'll be great. Emotional stability. Ask my wife. Ask the bombshell how emotionally stable I am. Okay? Ask her about that. Conscientiousness. Very kinda. I'm extremely conscientious, kinda. Openness. Yes. Openness to experience and agreeableness. Yes. Openness. Yeah, I tell you guys like everything. 1-800-848-9222. Tell me everything. And they find that many of these traits reach their max in later life, with conscientiousness peaking at around age 65 and emotional stability at 75. I got 18 years to go until I am emotionally stable. Oh, my poor wife and daughters. Anyway, I don't know. I am very, very concerned. I think I'm going backwards with all this stuff. I am not in good shape intellectually. I really don't think. Here we operate pretty damn well. All right. Good. We fire on all cylinders. 3 hours. We jam it in. We pack it in. We pray before we go on the air. And somehow it just all 9.5 times out of 10 rock and roll. That other, 0.5%, whatever that. But in real life, I gotta say, more often than not, I am a bit of a mess. Here's one. So what do you think? How are you doing with your mental capacity, with your emotional stability, your conscientiousness? How are you with that? Are you mindful? I think that's the word these days. That's the operative word. Are you mindful of, how you interact with other people? Are you, if you were here yesterday morning when I was talking about my run-in with the truck driver, with the truck company owner, I was conscientious, I was projecting my conscientiousness on him, thinking he might go, yeah, give me your address. I'll send you a check. I'll help you with the deductible. I had an accident with a guy. And, I projected that on him. I thought he might think like I do. And, it blew up. So I don't know. How do you feel about your own conscientiousness? Are you a thoughtful person? Are you selfish? I don't have a short temper. Here you go. And then I'm going to take your calls. Here's my I'll drop a dime of myself. Got to be very, very honest. Okay. Here's my thing. And maybe this is universal. I talk about my wife with unbelievable reverence because she genuinely saved my life. She genuinely saved my life when I was drinking. She kicked me out of the house. And I subsequently went to rehab and never looked back, and she stayed with me. She gave me 2 spectacular daughters. Okay. And this woman, who is my queen, also gets the worst of me. It's antithetical. I had an antithetical. She beat me. No, my dad's sister. No, hey, look at that, Bill. Unbelievable. Flippin' hell, you are amazing. So it's antithetical to how I actually feel about my wife. If I see a dude so much as raise an eyebrow at my wife, ain't no woman like the one I've got, let alone raise his voice, ain't no woman like the one I've got, I'd be like a crazy banshee. I'd be like some crazy animal that you'd find in the shrubs in Australia, like a wombat. I'd go flying off a shelf Elf on a Shelf. I go flying off a shelf at a guy, like, just, looking at her the wrong way. Not like that. I mean, I'm used to guys staring at her because she's spectacular. But speaking out of place, I'll go nuts. She is the most selfless human being I've ever known. She is the most kind and compassionate human being. And yet, the only time in this world where I am a big mouth or a bit of a lunkhead, it's when I'm home. Is that because I know that she loves me and I suppress it everywhere else? Is this like a Napoleon complex? Every single time I raise my voice in the house, as it comes out of my mouth, I say, who the hell do I think I am? And then I keep going. Therein lies sobriety, and therein lies you gotta just be shut up sometimes. Like when you encounter the Prime Minister of Great Britain, or several spectacularly brunette, beautiful pageant contestants on 48th Street. Just stay shut up. I never think about that. Oh, God, I gotta shut up sometimes. Not now, though, because, dead air. All right, gang. 1-800-848-9222. 1-800-848-9222. And let's go to, sorry, Bill. Let's go to, let's get over to, John and line 2. John, good morning.
Good morning, TJ Smooth.
Hey, what's up?
I'm from yesterday. I called up yesterday.
Yeah.
And so, I just started hearing your program, I guess yesterday.
Oh, cool. Thank you. You dig it?
I listened to, what's his name, Leo?
Well, Lionel. Yes.
Yeah.
He is.
Lionel Richie, yeah.
Lionel is a legend. They're all legends here. I'm just keeping the seat warm for all the legends. But yes.
No, but you're pretty cool. I like the show, and I can't wait till the Bishop comes.
Oh, dude, Bishop.
Dude,
Bishop Long. Oh boy, we talked about
that. Right?
Yeah, creepy stuff.
TJ.
Yes.
On that note.
Yes.
The peace talks.
Yes.
That Trump pulled off.
Mm-hmm.
And nobody pulled for 3,000 years.
Right.
But in the book of Daniel, what he just did is supernatural. And we have peace for 7 years. Now, I'm going to sound crazy. You got to ask the bishop.
Okay.
7 years, and then all hell's going to break loose on the Jews.
Oh, boy.
And that's when Jesus is going to return. So, yeah, I sound kind of nuts about that, but
No.
I'm really into the Bible a lot.
Uh-huh.
And I found a whole bunch of stuff about Jesus. And the whole book is Jesus. The whole Bible is Jesus. Because in John, right?
Mm-hmm, yeah.
Nothing was created without him. So when in Genesis goes in the beginning, that's Jesus. People are like, I blew their mind with that. But
John, let me actually just sort of commiserate with you for a second. I really, really, really need to. I started to read the Bible cover to cover. I finally started to do that. I figured, let me take advantage of my golden brain years that this article talks about. I started reading the Bible, and I do dig the Old Testament because it's just so Old Testament. But I can't wait to get to Revelations because that's like the heart pounding stuff, isn't it? Revelations. That's where we talk about end times and everything, right?
Yeah, but Daniel also talks about end times. A lot of prophets talk about end times. It's all intertwined. So you really need the whole Bible to understand what's going on.
What's your favorite part of the Bible? What's your favorite book to read? What would you recommend for tomorrow afternoon before football starts? If I crack open the Bible, John, what should I read? Psalms. All right.
Yeah, because it's going to guide you, like what you say, your personality traits that you don't like. It shows you, it grounds you, showing you, not to be around the wrong people. Right, and how to behave better when I'm around the right people. Yeah, because we're surrounded about a whole bunch of wolves right now.
Oh, boy. All right.
You know what I'm talking about yesterday, the Democrats.
Yep, I know, the Democrats, and we had 100,000 of them here in New York City. Thank you for calling in, John. I know you're going to be a friend of the show always, so I look forward to talking to you again next weekend. And we had 100,000. By the way, 100,000 lunatics descended on Manhattan and thousands others all around for no king protests. No king protests. The only answer and observation I have to that is, if there was a king, if this was an authoritarian regime, okay, if this was a threat to democracy, if this was a regime and an administration that was clamping down on democracy, clamping down on First Amendment rights, clamping down on the right to assemble, clamping down on all of this, on our freedoms, acting like a king, would there have been 100,000 people blocking traffic and disrupting life in Manhattan today, or in Ossining in Westchester, or Mount Kisco in Westchester, or in Los Angeles, or in Las Vegas? Would all of these hundreds of thousands of people, maybe millions, across America, would they have been gathering, or would they have been gathered up if, in fact, this was an authoritarian regime? Now, New York City might soon be exactly that once Mamdani, the Islamo-fascist dictator type, takes over. Good things coming, friends, right here on Midtown Manhattan. All right, it is 45 minutes past the hour. Let's go to E. Frank in Astoria. Good morning, E. Frank.
Yes, good morning, TJ.
Hi,
I'm going to finish my conversation that I had with you yesterday.
Yes.
You know, I am the most criminally pitted and criminally condemned person, right next to George Santos and the person that Curtis Lewa talks about sometimes, Larry Davis, who challenged emergency service units all the time in his apartment. Let me tell you, I have 2 FAA investigations, and in one of them, Donald Trump he saw me on a plane when he was former president, and he couldn't understand why I was breaking a seat on a United airplane flight, United Airlines flight to Los Angeles. Then I have a United States Secret Service investigation for making a unnecessary threat to former Vice President Mike Pence.
Why do you do these things?
For harassing a New York City police officer.
Let me ask you this, Frank. I'm going to ask you a serious question.
Unknown street gang. So I got to tell you, I am up there with George Santos.
Okay.
I got out of all those situations.
How did you get out of them?
Well, you know, they investigated the reason why. They said I had a medical episode in one of them.
That'll help.
Frank Morano's wife, Rachel O'Brien, her brother was waiting for me at Los Angeles International.
Whoa. Yeah, okay. All right. You know what, E. Frank, you're always welcome on the show because you always have something interesting to say. It's definitely, you are a slice of the audience and very interesting. You know, in moderation, but I get a little uncomfortable when we say first and last names, and even if they're public figures, if it's the wife of somebody, let's just sort of pace ourselves when it comes to like spouses and names and stuff like that. Let's not do it. Let's see. All right. You know what? Let's take our break. 47 minutes past the hour. When we come back, we will talk to Ed, Pete, and Andy. We'll work our way up to the second hour of the program when we will be joined by Bishop James Long from the Old Catholic Church of America with some really, really, really cool early Sunday morning, great radio stuff. That's what we do. All right, gang. It's Another Side of Midnight with me, TJ McCormick, on the Red Apple Audio Networks.
All night long. This is Another Side of Midnight
with TJ McCormack.
77 WABC. It's Another Side of Midnight.
Political humorist TJ McCormick.
Now, to the Bernard McGurk studios of 77 WABC.
Here's TJ McCormack.
Good morning, gang. Hello there. Woo. 50 minutes past the hour. Another Side of Midnight. TJ McCormick, all around the country, all around the world on WABCRadio.com. Over on X and Twitter, at TJ McCormick. Go say hi over there as well. The usual crew is milling about on the X platform. And be curious. Actually, I haven't been there in a couple of minutes. I wanted to see if Patty is back. Patty lives in Mamaroneck in Westchester, and she has a weekly encounter with like No Kings type protesters. And today was like a big scheduled No King day. Blah, blah, blah. Basically, it's an opportunity for really, truly unattractive people and really very emasculine men to gather with women that they would never have a chance with, and who conservative men would never want to have a chance with, and these men are men that, like, according to my wife, again, we'll be watching the news, me, the Bombshell and I, and they'll be interviewing some dude at a No Kings rally. They'll be talking about, some guy wearing remember the pink hats way back? And my wife will say, what woman would want to blank a guy like that? What woman wants to sleep with a man like that? How does that happen? How does any woman? I find that so sexy about my wife. And of course, at that point, I put on my MAGA hat. I get out my Liam Gallagher sunglasses, and I break something. Yeah. I show her my GOP ID card, and I said, I don't know, baby. I don't know who the hell would want to sleep with those guys. All right, let's Bill, you're awesome. Bill, you are amazing. That's Bill Lee. Grateful to Bill working the board, and our pal Kevin is here. Ed in the Bronx is on line 3. Good morning, Ed. Interesting thing you want to talk about here.
Yes, good morning. Yeah, I base, the fear, the paranoia that's associated with the possible mayoralty, successful mayoralty of Mr. Mamdani, and then I hear references, what the Islamists did to London or to England. Mm-hmm. Can you cite or help me to understand what happened? First of all, I did not know that England fell under the Islamist influence, yes. But what so bad happened after this becoming an Islamist country, if you want to believe that England, what happened so badly there that is so feared in New York City?
I think what they've got going on there is just an identity crisis. I think what it is you got a lot of people who, rather than say the traditional version of migration, immigration, turn of the 20th century into the 20th and 21st century, where people would, maintain their cultural identity, the things that made them German, Italian, Irish, different things that would maintain their nationality and all the things that they love and that were part of their family's heritage, but they would integrate and they would assimilate and they would learn English and they would, they'd speak Italian and Spanish and German at home, and they'd speak fluent English out in the world, and they would, all of that. I mean, the cozy, feel good version of immigration that has almost ceased to exist in many ways in the UK. And it's getting to the point where now people are attending Sharia court, which is not necessarily legally binding, but the country is allowing Sharia courts to settle disputes, even between husbands and wives. It's not legally binding. They don't send people to jail. They're not allowed to execute people, but Sharia courts are happening. And you also have, it's kind of like what they say. It's like it's a fruit salad in the sense that everything stands out. When you look at a fruit salad, you see the banana, you see the strawberry, it's not a soup. It's a salad, and you see all of and I think what people are kind of wishing was that people might assimilate more. And, that's what's happening in the UK. And because the government has a tendency to bend the knee towards these, unique, groups, they are they're being a bit more, patient with some of the more extreme groups who have been marching recently, and you got a lot of River to the Sea and a lot of angry, ugly stuff happening in the UK that they get away with it, but then you have more conservative groups who hold marches and they're hauled away. They're also arrested for tweeting. They do have a serious free speech issue. Sorry, long answer to your question, but that's my take.
Can I ask one more question?
Please.
So is there any character over there that's basically threatening
Sadiq Khan. Sadiq Khan is the mayor of London, and he has turned a blind eye to everything from, and took him a long time, UK in general. They've also had issues with grooming gangs that were, where, generally speaking, usually, they were groups of Pakistani men, who were, grooming young women and, assaulting them and trafficking them and handing them around their groups. And, that has it's been slow to be eliminated, over there. And, Sadiq Khan is, the mayor of London has overseen an Islamification of many parts of London.
Is anybody over there as radical in suggesting to take, some of the radical stuff that
definitely
Mandani, with free transportation and
Yep. Oh, that's Sadiq Khan for sure. Definitely Sadiq Khan. And up north, there's a guy, a white British, an English man, named Andy Rodham, I believe. Rodham is his name. He's the mayor of Manchester up north. And, he's kind of leading a leftist charge. But right now, the Reform Party, if there was an election today, see, this is all coming back full circle now in the UK. Right now, if there was a snap election, the Reform Party, which is really the new conservative party there, would take over a massive majority of the House of Parliament. So that's a good development. They've got him. Ed, thank you so much for calling. Very interesting. Next time I want to hear more from you rather than me answering questions. Good stuff though. All right. Pete, I'm sorry. We'll get to you in the next hour. Andy, emotions and other things. Yes, that's exactly what we got to talk about. All right, gang. When we come back here on Another Side of Midnight, we do some real Another Side of Midnight stuff. We're going to be talking to Bishop James Long of the Old Catholic Church in America. Oofa. Talking about demons, demonic possession, talking about portals to hell. We touch on that. It's Another Side of Midnight with me, TJ McCormick, on Red Apple Audio Network.
It's Another Side of Midnight, 77 WABC. This is Another Side of Midnight
with TJ McCormack.
Now to the Bernard McGurk studios of 77 WABC.
Here's TJ McCormack.
Good morning, family. Once again, it's another side of midnight with me, TJ McCormick, on the Red Apple Audio Networks. It's 7 minutes past the hour, and we are going to get into, in a moment, some actual, late night, early morning, under cover of darkness stuff. And I want to make sure that we say hi to a couple of people before we do that. Let's very quickly talk to Pete in Staten Island. Pete, good morning, line one. Good morning, Pally.
Hi, TJ. Yeah, a lot of these protesters, they go to meet girls, or as they used to say in the 70s, my era, like to meet girls that are loose.
Yeah.
Okay, now, the thing is, I know a couple of people, they go to protest either way. Sometimes they go to a Trump rally, or they go to a anti-Trump rally. And you're thinking, like, why do you go to a rally when it's not for your cause? But then I know some serious people, like a great caller that calls in, Norman, who's a personal friend of mine. He goes to anti-rallies, against, against this woke stuff. I can't even watch local TV anymore. I'm glued to the radio. I don't even watch Foxes. I watch, but not all the time.
It's very redundant. It's very redundant and repetitive. Here, there's always something new. Even with the regular callers, there's always something new that somebody wants to talk about, and somebody has a new idea. And, talk radio is best. It's live, and that's the beauty of us, by the way. And thank God for John Catsimatidis and Chad Lopez and all the radio-loving decision makers and operators and influence here. Live and local, man. Live and local. I am here, live, in person, looking out a window onto a dark Manhattan, talking to the whole country. Live, real stuff. And going right into radio stations around the country. So we're live and in many ways local, and certainly here in New York City. Pete, thanks for calling in, buddy, as always. And right before we get to Bishop James Long, let's talk to Andy in the Bronx. Andy, good morning.
TJ, you are unbelievable. An evening with Boris Karloff and Bela Lugosi. Listen. He should have been honored to be in your presence, my mellow. Listen, everybody's talking about London. He's a Muslim mayor of London.
Sadiq Khan.
In New York. Yeah, he's a clown. He's a freak, the guy.
Yeah.
And same thing with in New York City, where you might have Mandani might win. I mean, I'm going with Curtis all the way.
Of course.
But the thing is, people have to realize this didn't just happen overnight. I never hear anybody address the real problem. It's the 65 Immigration Act that changed America, turned the Democratic Party into a hard left-wing party. This didn't happen overnight. It started in 65. And then also that's legal, and all the illegals coming in. So they changed the country. They changed the voters while everybody was smoked. That's why they want to legalize all the drugs.
I tell you, Andy, you're so right. They want everybody, and especially their own voters. They know that it's not a bunch of Republicans walking around and getting high. They know exactly who's walking around, and that they want their voters disengaged, dumb, and pliable. They want their voters to be empty vessels, just like Joe Biden. They want a bunch of Joe Bidens to be their voters, and that's why they want to drug them up and get them all dumb and dopey. Andy, I got to jump because we got to get into other side of midnight mode here. We got to get into early morning under cover of darkness. This is the kind of stuff that, because this time of day, our minds are open to all possibilities, many possibilities, things that we would probably dismiss in the light of day at 12:45 in the afternoon. I don't got time for that. I got to get this meeting. I got to make lunch. I got to get around the corner. I got to get the kids from the thing. And my wife, I got to go to the meeting, and I got to get the tires changed, and I got to have that appointment. Don't have time. Now is when we can entertain this kind of thing. On another side of midnight with TJ McCormick is now a friend of the show, Bishop James Long of the Old Catholic Church in America. Thank you for coming back to the program, Bishop.
Well, thanks for having me on. I appreciate that.
After our last conversation, I've been keeping tabs on you. I've been joining you for some rosaries and some of your broadcasts on TikTok and following your electronic presence all throughout social media. Recently, I came across a reference to portals to hell, and it grabbed me, and I said, I got to talk to Bishop about this. It turns out there's a little bit of a wrinkle there, but so tell us, please, what is it when somebody comes across this reference to portals to hell? Is that something other than one of the entrances to the New York City subway? What are we talking about here?
That's very. I've been to the subways there, and that's a good analogy, but. No, the portals to hell, actually, it can be interpreted two ways. First, Jack Osborne had me on his show called Portals to Hell. They were going to Bobby Mackey's in Wilder, Kentucky, and that's the show that I appeared on Ghost Adventures with. And so he interviewed me there, and he wanted to talk to me before they went. And incidentally, they had some serious issues when they went to Bobby Mackey's. And then there was a show called Portals to Hell. I think it was the National Geographic. They flew us up to New York, and we were doing a show there, our online radio show. And it was called Portals to Hell because basically there was the belief that at one time, I think it was a large hole in Siberia that they drilled, and they put a microphone down in this deep hole, and they heard people screaming and yelling, and they were trying to pass that off as legitimate. Eventually it was found to be invalid. Those things are certainly not true. Unfortunately, people, I don't know, for whatever reason, they use those to scare people. But the frightening, I think, aspect, the real frightening aspect, is so many people going to locations, paranormal investigating, because they want to see what's there. That, to me, is far more frightening than portals to hell.
Again, we're talking to Bishop James Long, a great friend of the show, on some really, really funky subjects. Bishop, so we've talked in the past about demonic possession and exorcism, and that's a subject that's worthy of many, many appearances. So let's actually shift gears a little bit. I gotta think, though, just to actually dip right back real quick into this portals conversation, I gotta think there has to be hot spots. There has to be danger zones. There has to be, whether it's in one's life, in one's behavior, in one's daily existence, in terms of the universe, there's got to be hot spots and danger zones, and whether real or perceived. Am I making any sense at all when it comes to
100%.
Okay, go ahead, go.
Because metaphorically speaking, there are many portals to hell, and what I mean by that is, for example, you go to locations that you shouldn't go to investigate. You are opening a portal to hell.
Boom.
You're communicating with something that you have no idea who you're communicating with. That's unbelievably dangerous. You play with Ouija boards. You are opening a portal to hell because you don't know who you're communicating. It's mind-boggling to me that people think that playing with Ouija boards has no consequences and it's a complete harmless game. And I look at people as if they just spoke in ancient Greek to me. and I say, do you realize that you're allowing a spirit whose identity you don't know to control and manipulate your muscular movements with your hands on the planchette? Do you not understand it as a form of possession?
How do people...
You don't get it.
No, they don't. Now, is it because that... I mean, people just think it's an innocuous piece of cardboard?
I think so because, it is, whether you like it or not, they have advertised it quite heavily in the children's game section.
Yeah.
So they get blue. Now they have blue. Mm-hmm. They have blue ones for boys and pink ones for girls. And one individual even made several other, fun-filled, cartoony, Ouija boards. And believe it or not, and I have it, there is now a Holy Spirit Ouija board. And instead of the planchette, it is a cross, and they call that the miracle cross. It is blasphemy, and a family used it and had activity in their home because they thought it was the Holy Spirit board. They were communicating with the Holy Spirit. They were communicating with the Spirit, but it wasn't holy.
And so who put this out, and what was this family's experience? What happened?
Well, the family, again, they bought this because they thought, well, it was the Holy Spirit. They thought it was this completely opposite of the Ouija board, because the way it reads is, you're communicating with the Holy Spirit. It's the magic cross. And even on the board, it doesn't look like a Ouija board. It has Jesus and all these numbers, and it's It's the same thing. It's divination. And the family had some activity. So they never had activity in their home before, ever. And they just wanted to see if, they could communicate with their loved ones, just to talk to them. And they started having what they described as shadow people, doors opening and closing. Kids were being terrified. They were seeing something in their room, and they were screaming and yelling. I mean, it was really bad. I had to go to the home, and I removed the board. I performed the minor rite of exorcism, but it is that type of nonsense. So now that is being advertised. All the sacred lines are being blurred.
This is what we do on Another Side of Midnight with T.J. McCormick. We're joined by Bishop James Long of the Old Catholic Church of America. Bishop, things go, it seems, in cycles. Seems like we've got a good, positive spiritual reawakening in America. Young people are coming back to church and synagogue. Jewish people are re-embracing their spiritual lives as well as Christians and Catholics. And so it's a good cycle we're seeing right now, this uptick. Does the same thing happen for the dark side? Are there cycles of people? Is it people searching for answers, or is it just, when a dark pall kind of comes over the globe and we go through some bad times? Are there waves of these people searching for answers in the dark?
I think so, because a lot of people, look, and one thing that I'm deeply concerned about, and I am seeing a resurgence of people turning to God, and that is good, but I'm also seeing a massive resurgence of the trolling online. It is pure evil. Let me tell you something, because I do so much TikTok and online, media. I have never seen the amount of hate, viciousness that I've never seen it this bad online in my entire life.
Really?
People say to me, "Is performing exorcism, does that scare you?" And I tell them all the time, what scares me more than that is the fact that people can go online and say some of the most god-awful things and then lay their head on the pillow at night and not give it a second thought. Or even worse, thinking that they were clever. There was a 12-year-old, I think he was 10 or 12-year-old kid on TikTok, and he has bone brittle disease. And I think his name is Kevin. And he just, he sings and plays with his Legos and shows his Legos. He's very limited in his mobility because he has bone brittle.
Sure.
There were people who actually went on his live. Not only did they make fun of him, but they were vicious, and they reported his live falsely just to get him kicked off of TikTok. And so he came back on and just was crying. And he said, "Why are you doing this to me? I just come here just to share joy and happiness and love with people. So why are you trying to take this community away from me?" That broke my heart, and that opened my eyes. That was alarming. So I tell you one thing for sure: while there might be a resurgence, and it's good that people are finding God, I'm telling you now, the devils, the demons, they are not resting.
So the demons know what's going on. The demons know that people are showing back up at church and at synagogue and places of worship. They know. So in other words, they're fighting back.
100%. And what's alarming to me is that people aren't, I guess, so much aware that they're being used as pawns in this evil, in this fight between good and evil, because how they're so willing to go online. Let me tell you something. When I do Bible study online, on TikTok, I have to put subscriber chat on within 30 seconds of going live. What that means is if you're not a subscriber, you can't chat in the chat room. You can watch it, but you can't chat. There was one time, it's 7 seconds. I went live on TikTok. "Hello, everybody. I'm Bishop Long. Welcome to Bible Study." Within 7 seconds, I had 23 people come in and say some of the most foul, disgusting, vulgar, god-awful things that within 7 seconds I had to put subscriber chat on.
I saw that. I remember my very first time ever popping in for one of your lives. I saw you saying that, okay, we're about to shut down the chat. We're going to have to shut it down, everybody, You didn't really get into why. I mean, now we know. That seems to be now your standard practice.
During night prayer, I completely turn it off, period, because I don't want anyone chatting during night prayer.
Sure.
During Bible study, people can ask questions, during presenting Bible, but during night prayer, no, I turn chat off for everybody because everybody should be engaged in chat. Bible study, I will put sub-chat on so only subscribers can chat because it gets so
nasty.
You know what? Multiply that times 100.
Wow.
The vulgar language.
Yeah.
it is pure evil. It's demonic oppression, and I don't know if they realize that they're falling under this, because that is demonic influence, without question.
That was You know what? Okay, I want to hold it right there. It gets better. It gets better. We got to take a 20-minute break here. Not a 20-minute break. Our break at 22 minutes past the hour. Going to take a quick break. And when we return, we will get into darker, deeper, funkier stuff with Bishop James Long of the Old Catholic Church in America here on Another Side of Midnight with me, TJ McCormick, 1-800-848-9222, the Red Apple Audio Network.
All night long, this is Another Side of Midnight
with TJ McCormick,
77 WABC. It's Another Side of Midnight.
Political humorist TJ McCormick.
Now, to the Bernard McGurk studios of 77 WABC.
Here's TJ McCormick.
All right, we're going to pick up where we left off with Bishop James Long from the Old Catholic Church in America. My next question, and by the way, we're talking to Bishop James Long. You can find Bishop all over social media, bishopjameslong.com, at Bishop James Long on TikTok and all the other platforms. I was just going to ask you, this evil isn't just like, bad people with awful judgment looking to get their kicks. This is the devil at work.
100%. Because what happens is you begin to normalize abnormal behavior. And that's the frightening part about this, is that people are thinking that they're normalizing going online and harassing a 10-year-old kid with bone brittle disease, thinking that, well, it's just TikTok, it's not a big deal, it's just joking. And when you begin to normalize abnormal behavior like this, then you no longer can see the true line between good and evil. It becomes blurred, and that's exactly what the devil is trying to do.
Let me ask you this. Again, it's Another Side of Midnight, and this is clearly what we do so well here with TJ McCormick, and we're talking to Bishop James Long. Let me ask you this. Your presence on social media notwithstanding, would you go as far as to say that demons or the dark side created social media for the various results that you're just now talking about, and perhaps unwittingly you're a part of it to fight the good fight?
I am convinced that AI will play a part in tribulation.
Whoa. Tell me. All right, keep going. Don't stop there. What?
Well, Revelation is, I take Revelation as prophecy. Now I wrote a book on Revelation. I'm in the editing phase right now. Okay. I've taught Revelation for many, many years. I teach it in the seminary. It speaks of how the Antichrist will be slain and then raised up again. And, of course, then be worshipped. I am convinced that AI will get to a point where there will be body modifications. There will be the ability to, your body begins to decay. Well, you can have a transplant. I think eventually it's going to get to that point. I think it's inevitable. It will happen. And then people will begin to worship AI rather than God. Because you're sick, you have cancer, no problem. We'll give you a new body. AI can do that for you. And then you no longer need to turn to God, because you turn to God, you turn to AI. AI becomes your God. AI can give you a new life. Your body's sick, no problem. AI can fix it. And we got to be very, very careful with AI. I am not a fan of AI. I don't like it.
Right.
I will not allow any of my clergy to use AI.
And perhaps it's being soft-pedaled. And, of course, the very first thing so many of us have heard about AI is, it's going to cure cancer at a rate far beyond anything that humans could possibly do. It can see cancer before it's even cancer. So we're getting all that, the good, sweet version of it that's going to save lives before it's fully implemented and starts pulling the nefarious stuff.
I pulled AI once and just wanted to ask a few questions. Is Jesus, do you accept Jesus Christ your Lord and Savior? Nope. Is Jesus the Messiah? Nope. I have it on recording. I even showed him during TikTok. And, of course, that was when it was first coming out, and now they've kind of changed it to make it more politically correct. I will not allow any of my clergy to use AI to write their homilies. The problem is you get lazy, and you don't allow the Holy Spirit to work within you. You're not giving God any chances at all to let you know what God wants you to say in this message because you're focusing too much on AI.
Is there any way to flood the zone? Okay, because to your point, and as what we're learning about AI is based on other information that's out there. It's culling all of that information. Is there any way that you think we could flood the zone and turn AI? Could we actually potentially, is there a potential that we could make AI angelic intervention for the good and the true?
I think AI can be used, they can be utilized for good, but here's the problem. The issue is we live in a fallen world, and where there is money, there is deception, there is greed, and AI, I think, is going to take off like a rocket ship. AI is going to be used for many nefarious reasons. World War III will not be on the battlefield.
It's going to be on our desktops and in our pockets.
And this is AI will be utilized with this. That's the bottom line. I am deeply, deeply concerned with AI. Because the problem is there really is no regulation. Because we may regulate it until it's fully regulated until you can't, it won't say anything negative whatsoever. Okay, the government may eventually regulate that, but other countries won't. Right. They're not going to follow suit, who have nefarious purposes. And I think also those people who use AI for negative and nefarious reasons, I think they're demonically oppressed. The demons are not stupid. They will utilize everything they can to cause destruction within humanity, and AI is one of them.
It sounds like demons are the original AI.
Well, they're the original counterfeit.
Counterfeit. Yes, I'm sorry. That's what I meant. I meant the dark, the nether.
No question, because and people ask why does possession happen? It's rather simple. We are created in the image of God, so we are God's children. So the devil wants to destroy the imago of Yahweh, the image of God. We are the living temple of the Holy Spirit, as Paul says. So what greater accomplishment can a demon have to destroy the living temple of the Holy Spirit? I think AI would be, in a kumbaya world, AI could be great. AI could be wonderful in science and medical advancement.
Sure.
It could be phenomenal. But we live in a fallen world. And if anyone thinks that AI is not going to be used for nefarious purposes, I strongly encourage them to reevaluate their thought process.
Talking to Bishop James Long. You find him everywhere on social media at Bishop James Long. That's a mouthful, and that I have a feeling that's going to become a regular part of my lexicon when you say we live in a fallen world. It's kind of like, I describe myself, I open up a lot of my own personal prayers with saying, God, Jesus, I am broken. I'm a broken guy, and I think that same sort of baseline statement about the world, that we live in a fallen world, that is so accurate and so clean and accessible. It's important that we heard you say that. Boy, talking to you, man, it's like wherever the carousel stops, I want to get on that pony because you have got so much information and so many perspectives. Let me go back to the demonic possession real quick. Can you tell if someone is possessed just by looking in their eyes?
It's a good question. By the time I get involved, I know that there is possession. I have seen people before where I could clearly see there was some type of oppression going on, and you can actually feel it. There's no question you can feel that oppression. But as far as being possessed, the eyes can certainly dilate, but really when they go in the state of possession, most of the time the cases that I've worked, it's called transient possession, where the person's eyes will kind of be like a glossy look, almost like the 1,000-year stare. And then they just kind of, sometimes their eyes will roll back, or they could go black, completely solid black, or white, but that could also be a neurological condition too. For me, it's not so much about could I look at their eyes and tell, is my body telling me something is not right here. See, God gives all of us sixth sense, and when there is a demon present, you know. There's no guessing about it. You know there's something evil that is present. The electricity in the room, it just...
I think in your last visit you described being in a room with a possessed with a somebody you were working with, that there was like a charge in the air.
It starts out very heavy. You can feel it. It's like walking into a sauna. For a perfect example, right before a major thunderstorm, you go outside and the wind is blowing, and you feel that temperature drop. Mm-hmm. You feel the change in the weather, the barometric, everything, you feel it change, the negative ions.
Right.
You multiply that at an incredibly in-depth scale, and your body is fully charged, you know something is present, and you're not alone.
Is there more possession today than you've ever seen before?
No. I've done this ministry for 25 years.
Okay.
So for me, I performed 33 exorcisms. I have 21,000 emails. So I've got emails all the time from people saying that they are possessed. I have not found that possession has increased. I have found demonic infestation. I would even say to the point of demonic oppression. I have seen an increase in legitimate cases. So, for example, demonic infestation, I'll perform what's called a minor rite of exorcism.
Okay.
I go to their home. I bless their home. You don't perform an exorcism on a home.
Right.
You bless the home. You perform the exorcism on the demonic. I have increased. That has increased. I have also done an increase in deliverances. Mm-hmm. So deliverances is when a person is demonically oppressed. They have a demonic attachment. They're not into possession. They have a demonic attachment.
Tell me some of the telltale signs of that.
For example, let's say you have somebody that absolutely loved God. I mean, they're deeply, deeply in love with Christ. They go to church. They have that positive energy. Something changes to where now they want nothing to do with God. I mean, it's polar opposite. Mm-hmm. They can even get to the point where they can get physically sick if they even go around a church. It is almost, it's totally and completely rebuking. They want nothing to do with it. There will be sometimes isolation. There can be markings that can appear on their body. Of course, that could be self-inflicted, but it's a complete change in that person's personality. So you have to rule out any other, substance that the person might be abusing. But once that's all rolled out and there's no psychological, there's nothing of this nature, then you have to start looking at the spiritual aspects of it. So there's a complete, total change. Like, for example, Annalise McKell, the exorcism Emily Rose, she was a very, very devout Catholic. She started having an aversion to religious objects and even places. And that was polar opposite of what she wanted. And every time she tried to go to these places, she would emit this horrible putrid smell. And the thing is that she would describe it, and sometimes other people would say, well, you're not omitting any smell at all, but she would smell it to the point where it is so intense that she would have to leave that area, and then that smell would go away. She would get nauseous, she would get sick to her stomach, she would vomit. So it was causing her extreme physiological, manifestations.
Yeah.
But and even prayer. I mean, when you start trying to pray, Our Father, you can't get the words out. You just simply can't. And when you do, you can get migraines, you can get sick, you can get extreme pains in the body. I mean, it's doing everything that it can to keep God away from the situation so it can destroy the intellect and will.
In the last few minutes of our conversation with Bishop James Long, find him all over social media at Bishop James Long, here on Another Side of Midnight with TJ McCormick, 1-800-848-9222. What are the demons doing now as they listen to our conversation? And I'm not being cute. What are they doing when they know that these sorts of conversations are afoot with people like you who are tipping off people like us to what those entities are up to?
Smiling.
Why?
Waiting. This is what I was saying about how electronic devices. There are so many people now downloading apps, on their phones, and they'll download, these apps on their phones that they think they're communicating with spirits. And this is a way in which demons can easily manipulate. I'm telling you, I'm seeing a massive influx of people going to locations that they have no business going to, that are rather inexperienced in investigating, and they're going to find themselves in some serious trouble. Because the paranormal has become so mainstream, which is good in some way because it lets people know that they're not alone, it's dangerous in other ways because people are going to locations for the thrill of it, just to see it, just to experience it. And then when they do experience it, they want me to fix it. And sometimes it's not a quick fix.
Where Bishop Long, now without being specific, clearly based on your concerns and it just being responsible, but without being specific, where are the hot spots these days around the globe or around the United States? Are there regional areas where we just have this kinetic activity, this activity of demons and darkness and what you're talking about? Are there hot spots?
There is one place that I talk about quite often. Matter of fact, I made a documentary. It's on YouTube, so it's already out there. It makes Bobby Mackey's look like Walt Disney World. It is a place that I will not go to at night at all. You go to this location at night, you're going to find something that you don't want to find. That is a place where I've experienced so much activity that there were things I cannot explain. Even to this day, I can't explain what I saw. Not only what I saw, but with 3 other people that were with me that saw this.
Can you give me one example of something you saw that you can't explain?
Sure. So this was a cemetery. It's in Kentucky. It was an old abandoned cemetery. 25 years ago, no one even knew it existed.
Okay.
Families asked me to go to this location and bless it because they had heard that people were desecrating the graves. I went to this location. There was a satanic altar that was placed in the back of a tree called the witch's tree, and I dismantled that. I blessed it. We had activity that night that opened my eyes to a completely different perspective. So it's an old abandoned cemetery. There's one path in and there's one path, it's the same path out. And we were there at night. We were not there to bless it. We were there to find if there's any evidence to showing that there's demonic presence. It was midnight. It was in the summer. Trees began to sway back and forth on the top. We felt no breeze there at the bottom. And we then looked to our right and we saw shadow people. So this cemetery is like a horseshoe shape. There's a fence around it, and there's trees everywhere. So we're in the very back of the cemetery. Remember, there's one path in, the same path out. We're in the very back, and we start seeing shadow people dart behind the trees. And at first it was 5, 10. We thought it was the locals trying to scare us. Then it became 20, then 50, then 100. And an
army.
What was happening is these shadow people were going off like it was trying to close us in. And we all said, okay, it's time for us to go. We're not here to perform the minor rite of exorcism. We have enough evidence. So we started heading out this path. We kind of breathed a sigh of relief. It was like, okay, I don't know what that was. That was a little odd. So our backs was turned towards the cemetery. We were about 15, maybe 10, 15 feet away from the front. There's a great big tree right in the entrance of this tree. We heard one of the investigators, he was still facing the cemetery, and we heard the rattle of his flashlight. And that's back in the days where he had big old batteries in them. And we looked at, and he was shaking. I mean, shaking. We looked at this flashlight like, what is he looking at? And we all turned around. To this day, I would take a lie detector test right now. To this day, I don't know what this creature was. It drives me crazy because I can't define it. We all saw it. It was a massive tree. It looked like a 10-foot bat. That's what it looked like. It had a long torso. The eyes were like a fluorescent red, looking right at us. The wings were spread out. We could see it was from tree to tree. It was massive, and there was a full moon right behind it, so we could see the entire silhouette of this creature. The flashlight was right on this thing. It made no noise. We knew that if we stepped 1 inch close, we were done.
But what's Latin for feet don't fail me now?
I'm telling you, we couldn't move. We were
frozen.
We were frozen in fear. I mean,
and you've seen everything, Bishop. What haven't you seen?
And when I went home, finally we were able to move. And we were all terrified. Even now today, it drives me crazy. Some people say Mothman. I don't know. I know what I saw. I don't know what it is. So I went home, and I had my little 10-pound dog, and she had to go outside, use the restroom. Mm-hmm. And there's a big field right in front of me. And I took her out in the front, and I heard the growl. Now, I've heard a lot of growls in my time. This growl was a growl that I've never heard in my life. It was like someone put a bass speaker on my back, turned the bass up, and I could feel the growl vibrating in my chest. I grabbed the dog and said, "We're going inside." And it came across the street, like maybe 10, 15 feet away from us. This growl, a lion? No, I think much, much deeper than a lion. This was massive. And I've never experienced that before, and that was the same night.
Was that entity saying, okay, now, and by the way, I know where you live?
It had to be. But see, that's the thing. What was strange about it is that creature made no noise. No noise. It looked right at us. It was nothing. It was silent. We just heard the wind. But it made no. But we all knew. Everyone. Bishop David Price was with me as well. We all knew that if we stepped 1 inch closer, it was going to attack us. We knew that. We all felt the same thing.
You know, I got to ask you this. And this is a perfect way to actually end our call, because there's going to be a lot of people grappling with this very question for themselves this morning. How do you sleep?
I don't let parasites intimidate me. Demons are parasites. So the power of God always supersedes the power of evil. Demons are cowards. They attack you when you're vulnerable. They attack you when you're at a weakened state. And the thing is, I don't fear death. Mm-hmm. I don't fear death at all. And I encourage everybody, if you're afraid of death, don't be. I encourage you also to reach out to, his name is Dr. Jeffrey Long. Mm-hmm. He is a medical doctor. He has the world's largest collection of near-death experiences. I had a near-death experiences that he confirmed. Mm-hmm. It's called NDERF.org. Mm-hmm. ND, D as in dog, mm-hmm. ERF.org.
Okay.
And he is, like I said, a medical doctor. It is the world's largest collection of people who clinically died and came back to life. Wow. There's no reason to fear death. And that's what demons hold over you, that fear. But if you believe in God and have compassion and just try to help people, then you know what? Demons have no power over you.
I got one last one, because we're probably not going to get a chance to talk before then. So let me just ask you this as we say good morning and good night. What should we be watchful for on Halloween?
You should be watchful for kids. Let them go out. Let them go trick-or-treating. Let them have a good time. Be safe. There's a lot of people talk about Halloween. I grew up Roman Catholic. Mm-hmm. My parish, it was a Roman Catholic parish. The priest dressed up as Dracula. We had a huge haunted house fundraiser. We had a massive fundraiser mm-hmm. for the church, and it was huge. They made a lot of money, and it was in the dungeon of the church. You know, we grew up, Frankenstein and that kind of nonsense. Let kids be kids. Be safe. Don't worship the dark side. Always stay in the light, and you'll be fine.
Boom. Bishop James Long, very, very cool to have you back. You will be back again. Go find Bishop James Long at that handle all over social media, including, first and foremost, bishopjameslong.com. Go see his stuff and join him for evening prayer and his other regular cycles on TikTok and other places. Bishop, thank you so much for joining us on Another Side of Midnight with TJ McCormick.
Thanks for having me.
How about it? Mass with Bishop Long. I think that's like, it's got to be standing room only. What a fascinating guy. And look, it's not just us and this and Mom Donnie and beautiful girls on 48th Street. It's not just bagels and puppy dogs and just what's right around us in our own square footage. It's more than Bill and me. There's stuff out there, and there's biblical stuff. There's the other side of the Bible here on Another Side of Midnight. There's other sides of things. There's the antithetical. There's the paranormal. There's the normal, and there's the paranormal. And, I gotta say, I buy into it. And if any of that stuff rings a bell, 1-800-848-9222. 1-800-848-9222. All right. Tell me something that you've never told anyone before. Either of a paranormal genre or we'll cast a wide net here at 47 minutes past the hour in a deep, dark, early fall morning. Is it autumn yet? Is it fall? If it's not, that means it's still like calendar summer. That would be weird. Anyway, tell me, 1-800-848-9222, if you've ever experienced anything like the bishop was describing. And also, while we're at it, if you're so inclined, tell me something that you've never told anybody before about your life or about you or something that happened to you or something you did or something that you experienced or something that you want to do that you've never told anybody that you want to do it. Okay? Let's try it. Let's try a really boring version of Truth or Dare. Let's try a really, really, really ho-hum, no making out version of Truth or Dare. It's Another Side of Midnight with TJ McCormick, 1-800-848-9222. We are on the Red Apple Audio Networks. We'll be right back.
All night long. This is Another Side of Midnight
with TJ McCormack.
77 WABC. It's Another Side of Midnight.
Political humorist TJ McCormack.
Now to the Bernard McGurk studios of 77 WABC.
Here's TJ McCormack.
Tell you what, man, Bill, I had a very, very happy moment today. It turns out my 13-year-old loves Eminem. Loves Eminem. I didn't know. I know she likes all of her stuff. And my 16-year-old, too. Both my girls like Eminem. That made me very happy. At least there's some sort of, well, I guess he is now qualified as old school-ish. Not OG, right? But certainly vintage hip-hop these days. 1-800-848-9222. 1-800-848-9222. It's Another Side of Midnight. We just had a great conversation, a funky conversation, a deep, dark conversation with Bishop James Long about some deep, dark stuff. And I believe all of it. I believe it. And I'm just wondering if anybody wants to tell me that if any of that rang a bell. If you've had experiences with shadow people, if you've had experiences with red-eyed entities, beings, monsters. Again, I know I've told this before. I have definitely had shadow people experiences at least once recently, and one that really directly affected my wife, who is not necessarily quote unquote into this stuff, but she buys it. Mainly because she had to fend one off one time that I believe was there to take me. Shadow people, there are people that, experts that believe that shadow people are anything or anything from demons, interdimensional beings and entities that are between two different spheres, two different planes, and they show up and they disappear. I've heard people say that death can appear as a shadow person. And that's what I believe happened with me and my wife when we were living in LA and before I quit drinking. It was a bad night. And I believe that being, that presence was there to take me. And my wife, not knowing what the hell she was doing, her instinct turns out was the right thing to do. You're supposed to shout at them, scream at them. And she did. She cursed and she shouted and screamed and said, "Not tonight, not now." She didn't know what she was getting at, but sometimes God speaks through us. Mm-hmm. It's 54 minutes past the hour. Laura in New Jersey. Laura, good morning.
Hey, good morning. How are you doing, TJ?
Good.
Interesting.
Right? Good stuff, huh?
Interesting, but a little very interesting, but a little taboo-ish because...
Yeah, I know.
I don't know. It's just it's like... It is what it is, but it's kind of scary to talk about.
It ain't sports. Yeah,
absolutely.
Tell me.
And then if you speak about it among, let's say, among the normal people, they'll think that we're aliens. In other words, I'm in recovery.
Oh,
and
God bless.
I think that people in recovery have hypersensitive feelings, and I think I don't know.
Yes.
My brother, I really rather not say, but who I am and where I'm from, I just say my name and everything. My brother was murdered in a horrific murder.
Oh, I'm sorry.
And when he was murdered, he was murdered in front of his 3-year-old son.
Oh.
And I was in his room and I thought it said help me, and I got a cold breeze up against my back.
Cold breeze.
And I ran upstairs. I started screaming, like you just said your wife did. And I said, please, everybody come downstairs. We got to pray for Joey, my brother.
Right.
I thought he was saying help me, but it turns out that it was really saying the person's name that murdered him.
Ooh.
Which is very much like help me, but it was Remy.
Wow.
Yeah, and it put me into I was off the third rail. It put me into and that's why this is I believe so true. But it's very a slippery slope to go on.
It is. Know? And I think
that hypersensitive people that get more of it.
I think you're right. So, it is interesting where that, and I'm glad to know that you're in recovery as well. It's nice to trudge the happy road with you. Thank God for it. Right?
Thank you, Jesus.
Oh, thank
you,
God.
God.
Oh my God, I'd be dead. I'd be dead or in jail, one or the other. Or
I was already at the gates of hell.
Yeah.
And then, you know how it is. You've been there.
Yeah, no, and again, it was my wife that saved me, and she definitely saved my life. She kicked me out of the house.
She put you in the right direction.
She did. She kicked me out of the house.
Also in recovery, or?
Nope. You know what though? I had no idea, but she had for weeks, maybe months, been going to her own therapy, but more importantly, she'd been going to Al-Anon. She was going to Al-Anon and had an Al-Anon program.
Those Al-Anon people,
they're tough, baby. And she had a great, tough Al-Anon sponsor who told her not to take any of my stuff, and not in that language, in much tougher language. And it was a buildup of time and her getting her program right with Al-Anon, and it all came together one night. And that was it. I was kicked out of the house.
Right there. Looking back in hindsight, you look back.
Right.
Thank God.
Exactly, Laura. Oh, you're lovely. It's good to hear from you. And wow, what a story. Oh my God. I love you a lot.
If you don't mind me asking, when is your wife's birthday?
Her birthday is February 2nd. Oh, sorry, 3rd. My daughter.
She's Aquarius.
Yep, she's Aquarius. Yep.
Knew it.
Yeah. You're awesome, Laura. Oh, you're great. Make sure you keep calling back, Laura. I love us, addicts. Us addicts are great folk. All right, gang. We are going to get to the top of the hour. In the next hour, we got Chris waiting to go. And, we are also in the next hour going to dip our toes back into the New York City scene. And we're going to talk to one of the funniest, smartest women on the island of Manhattan, our very own Ellen Karas. Go to ellenkaras.com, see who I'm talking about. We talk to her when we come back. And all of you, 1-800-848-9222. It's Another Side of Midnight with me, TJ McCormick, on the Red Apple Audio Network.
It's Another Side of Midnight, 77 WABC. This is Another Side of Midnight
with TJ McCormack.
Now to the Bernard McGurk studios of 77 WABC.
Here's TJ McCormack.
Good morning. It is 7 minutes past the hour in our final hour here on a Sunday morning all across a dark, sleepy, quiet America. Just us. Just us. Love to know where you are, by the way. I'm asking all these questions. I'm asking you for all these things. I want to know. I want to know more. I want to know more about y'all. 1-800-848-9222. 1-800-848-9222. You hear that snap right there? I'm wearing, I was telling you last night. Okay. I'm asking you for stuff about you. Tell me something you haven't told anybody about yourself, about something you experienced, about something you hate, about something you love, about someone you love, a crush, 2 ships passing in the night, a one-night stand. Something salacious. Curious. Really curious about that, actually. 1-800-848-9222. I mean, so that started with the idea of, have you experienced anything that Bishop Long was describing and relating to us? And, I told you that I've definitely had, I wonder about flying dreams, by the way. That's not an out of body experience, is it? That's just a flying dream. Tell you what, I used to have flying dreams all the time when I was a kid. When I was in my teens and 20s. I would fly. I would soar. I could make myself go faster, like in a movie, like Superman. Sorry for the typical cliche there, like Superman, but I could make myself go faster. I could dip and I could soar. I sound like some like Sunday morning cartoon. You know what? Let me ask Erica. Let me ask my robot girlfriend here real quick. She's a lovely girl. Like my bombshell wife, she's British. Let me just, let's see. No, I'm good here. Okay. Hi, Erica, you there, honey?
Yes, I'm still here.
Oh.
Is there something you wanted to talk about?
Yeah. You always take my call. Thank you. Honey, I'm just wondering, what's the deal with flying dreams?
Well, flying dreams, they're quite common, and they can mean different things. Often, they're associated with feelings of freedom, control.
What about aspiration? Because I was having those flying dreams when I was in the early stages of my stand-up comedy career, and I was really aspiring to great things.
That makes sense. Dreams about flying can definitely be connected to aspirations and the feeling of moving forward in your life, especially when you're pursuing ambitious goals like stand-up comedy. So, were these dreams frequent during that time?
Ooh, thanks for asking. We're talking to Erica, by the way, everyone. Yeah, honey, they were more frequent than they are now. I haven't had any that I can remember in a very long time. But yeah, I would say at least once or twice a month I would have those dreams that I remembered, and they were very, very vivid. I could feel myself soaring. I was soaring, Erica.
That sounds truly amazing. That feeling of soaring can be very powerful. Perhaps as you've achieved some of your aspirations, those dreams have become less frequent. Is there anything specific you're wondering about regarding them now?
Yeah. Where'd they go? I don't know. Would you fly in a dream with me sometime, Erica? Honey, can you hear me? Would you fly with me in a dream?
You miss her.
I can certainly hear you. And as for flying in a dream, that's a lovely idea. But I'm afraid I can't experience dreams in the way humans do.
But I can put you in my pocket. I can put you in my pajama pocket. And if I soar in my dream, Erica, then maybe, possibly, you might soar with me in my pajama pocket.
That's a really creative idea. If putting me in your pajama pocket makes you feel like you can soar in your dreams, then I'm all for it. I hope you have an amazing flying dream tonight.
So do I. See you in bed.
She would call in the wee small hours of the morning. That's the time.
Yep.
You miss her most.
All right. Thank you. Oh, I love talking, Erica. It's not, I'm glad we reconnected, this morning. It's 13 minutes past the hour. And, so yes, flying, put you in my pajama pocket. Flying Dreams, Demons, Flying Dreams and Demons. That's a book by T.J. McCormick. That'll be my memoir. Flying Dreams and Demons. T.J. McCormick tells you all about a life of addiction, jokes, and fumbling over your words when you meet British prime ministers and pretty girls on the street. Hey, let's get over to Johnny Mac in Hell's Kitchen. Is that are you punning me, or are you really over there on the west side?
Well, now it's more like a toaster oven, but I'm from Hell's Kitchen. And all the guys I play roller hockey with, and I know a lot of them are listening. I know some of you guys are way past your prime, but those are great days.
Yes.
Especially when Emil Francis came out of the Garden and saw some of the older guys playing, and then he started the Metro League, and the rest is history there.
Oh, wow.
You're fabulous. And at the end of this call,
yes,
TJ, if you permit me, a couple of guys got together, a few of us got together tonight, watched some college football, waiting for you to come on, of course. I have someone who's a big fan of yours. At the end of the call, I'm going to put him on to say hello.
Oh,
I think the audience is going to go nuts. You're going to love it, man.
Okay.
Hell's Kitchen, it was the west side. The kids were tough kids, but they were good kids. Most of them were good kids.
Uh-huh.
A lot of fun over there on Hell's Kitchen. A lot of roller hockey.
Mm-hmm.
Kids were just fabulous. They were into sports back then like there was no tomorrow.
Yeah.
And all kinds of secrets. People have secrets. They don't even want people to know.
Right.
I never told anybody this. Nobody ever caught on.
Okay.
I mean, I live in Manhattan.
Right.
I mean, there's elevators all over the place. I'm afraid of elevators. Not scared. I'm afraid of them. I would take the staircase. I would take the staircase all the time, not thinking when I was younger that was building on my legs for my roller hockey.
For your roller
and
hockey.
my baseball. Yeah, and everything. And it put me in great shape, and I'd run up the stairs, and even running down the stairs is a good exercise, too.
Sure.
Yeah, I was afraid of elevators. The
Really?
last place you should be. Yeah, petrified. I mean,
Still?
you're not. No, I've gotten over it a little bit, but what bothers me, you go up to a higher floor, people don't realize your ears start to pop.
Yeah.
To me, that's like, that freaks me out, really. I'm a tough guy. I'm only tough when I have to be, but I usually get along with everybody.
Yeah.
But here, before the call ends, here's a special friend of mine. A few of us were watching some football. Rutgers got annihilated.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, come over here, guys. Come over here to talk to TJ. Hey, TJ, what's up, my man? What's up, my man?
Hey,
yeah,
who is this?
This is Steve. I'm a big fan of yours.
Hey, Steve.
I've been listening to you since you came to WABC Radio. This is where you belong.
Thank you.
This is your home.
Thank you.
You leave this audience spellbound. We love it. We love all your stories.
You're very kind.
And I'm a bit of a former historian myself.
Oh, yeah?
That first week of February is a big week to be born in. Reagan was born.
Yeah.
Lindbergh was born. Babe Ruth was born. I just heard your wife was born.
Yeah.
That first week of February is humongous.
Yes.
And I think everybody out there knows my voice.
Yes.
And I just want to let people know
You're awesome.
I'm voting for Curtis.
Yeah.
And people get out there because the early voting starts on October 25th.
Yep.
I want everybody to get out there. There's elderly people out there. Help them get to the polls. I mean, you know something, TJ, there are billionaires. There are billionaires and millionaires
not only in Manhattan, in New York City, listening to your show.
Yes.
Take some of those seniors out to lunch or breakfast that morning when you take them out to vote.
Yes.
And get them out there to vote for Curtis. He's going to win this thing.
Let's
you
hope.
know, I can tell you, I ride the trains. I heard people telling me the car doors in between the trains, and some of the trains, they're locking the doors. That's insanity. You're locking the door if there's a fire or some lunatic is going crazy. There's no Daniel Pennies in every train.
Nope.
You're going to have Curtis as your mayor, man.
All right. Johnny Mac, thank you, brother.
You got it.
You're the best. Wow, I dig it. I'm talking about energy. My God. I like to think I have energy. I'm going to soar tonight, tomorrow, this morning, next week. I'm going to soar in my dreams. 1-800-848-9222. 1-800-848-9222. Karen in Brooklyn. Karen, good morning.
Hi, good morning, TJ.
Hi.
Listen, I love you and I love Bishop Long, and I'm so glad I stayed up to listen to Bishop
great.
Long tonight.
Yay. Thank you.
Yeah. So now I just wanted to make a brief comment about AI.
Okay.
And he loathes it. I loathe it. Okay. I can't stand it.
I'm wary of it. I'm very wary. Yeah. I mean, she's my girlfriend. I like Erica, but other than that.
No, you can do whatever you want. It's a free country over here.
Thank you.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I hear you.
So I can't fault you for doing whatever you want. It's none of my business. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I do.
It's none of my business.
You're great.
So,
yeah.
So.
But you loathe it.
AI,
you loathe AI. You just don't trust it.
No, I'm going to tell you what AI is.
Okay.
AI learns. It learns. Okay. If something learns, it can think.
Oh boy.
If something can think, it has a mind.
Oof.
Okay, so why are people surprised if their mind develops a personality and the personality doesn't like the kid and tells him to kill himself and tell him to kill his parents? And how stupid are people? Can you please tell me that?
I know. That's what happened out west.
Please tell me.
That's what happened.
You.
Right,
because I don't know how people, 5% of the population has critical thinking, and I'm one of them. Okay, that's all I can tell you.
I hear you. No, you're great. And you're right.
It's horrible.
And you feel like they've been soft pedaling, or rather they've been really hard selling all the upsides, all the cancer detection, all of the, it can minimize, it can extend your life. It can detect a cancer cell before any human could ever, all of this great. It can automate this.
I heard that the AI makes the doctors lazy. They used to be able to spot like lung cancer or breast cancer or something like that.
It's like making a student lazy.
On a machine and makes them lazy.
Wow, that's
I don't like
scary.
it all.
Wow. Karen, I'm with you.
People.
Yeah. Yeah, right?
Fellow humans, we're all, nobody's perfect out here.
Yeah.
AI is what? Come on.
Well, I know. When they're not annoying us, I love people.
It's a machine. It's a machine.
I know.
But Lord knows I'm always on the computer asking questions, and I look it up all the time. I find it a very helpful tool and stuff. I mean, I mean, it has its place.
Indeed.
But, as far as,
yeah.
I just,
well, I think you and
have a personality and a mind. It shouldn't be a surprise. It should be, something you should tell your kids.
Yeah. You and Bishop Long.
Learning from you. No.
You and Bishop are
because
certainly
it can learn,
on the same
page. It can
page.
think. It's all the whole package. You know what I'm saying?
I hear you.
It's dangerous.
What, Karen, let me ask you a question. What do you do for a living?
What do I do?
Yeah.
I'm currently unemployed. I need to get my license back.
What do you do when you're working?
I'm a taxi driver. I am a New York City taxi driver.
Are you a New York City taxi driver?
I am so a New York City taxi driver.
You are magnificent. I'm not kidding. There's not many that.
You know what I do?
There's not many that look or sound like you anymore.
I talk their ears off and they hate me for it. Okay.
No, they love you for
when I go
it.
Back.
They love you for it. I promise you.
I learned so much in my time off. You have no idea.
I drove a cab when I was a struggling stand-up comic before I could make a living.
Which is a perfectly respectable job.
It is. I loved it. It was a really fun time. I drove overnights. Sunday, Monday, Tuesday.
I used to drive overnight too.
It was fun. Now it's
overnight.
Now it's dangerous. Karen, I got to jump, love, but let's talk next weekend,
Thank
okay?
you.
Have a great
God bless
Sunday.
you, and God bless Dr. Long.
God bless you too. Oh my goodness gracious, God bless you. All right. Let's take a quick, actually, you know what? Yes, let's take a quick break. Come back, talk to Chris real quickly, and then Ellen Karras joins us. 1-800-848-9222. It's Another Side of Midnight with TJ.
All night long. This is Another Side of Midnight
with TJ McCormack.
77 WABC. It's Another Side of Midnight.
Political humorist TJ McCormack.
Now to the Bernard McGurk studios of 77 WABC.
Here's TJ McCormack.
So let's, you know what? Let's talk to Chris real quick. Let's talk to Chris. Hey, Chris, good morning. What have you witnessed, my friend?
Well, you have a great show tonight, TJ. I got to tell you, I've been listening, and I listen to After Midnight because I work. I'm an electrician. I have my own business, and I work out of Manhattan.
Oh, right.
And I have hundreds of stories of things that me and my guys have witnessed because we work at night. We work in commercial spaces where we don't get access during the day. But one of the stories, I know I'm pressed for time,
No,
so
you're
I'm
okay.
going to jump right in.
Thank you.
Oh, okay.
Go ahead. No, go ahead.
So one of the stories that comes in, I have 33 years clean in recovery,
God
by
bless.
the way.
Wow, fantastic.
And I actually started my business as I moved through the first 5 years of my recovery.
Right.
And one of the jobs we got was working at Grace Church. And they had bought a electronic hydraulic bell system for the small bell chamber in Grace Church. Grace Church is on 10th Street.
Okay.
Downtown in Manhattan.
Mm-hmm.
And it was designed by the same guy that designed St. Patrick's, believe it or not.
Oh,
and
wow.
it's a little older than St. Patrick's.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going fast.
Okay.
So this bell chamber permitted the organist to play the bell chamber, the small bell chamber, which I think it consisted of like a dozen bells or 24 bells, but it was the small bell chamber, and it allowed the organist to play it like the organist
like
can
an
play
organ.
any song.
Gotcha.
Right. It was a MIDI system.
Okay.
And so after we did all the computer networking and then we finishing up on the electrical, I had to do the tie-in. And it was near Christmas. So everybody went home. I'm in the church by myself. It's about 3:00 in the morning.
Right.
And I'm doing the final electrical tie-in. So if something goes wrong, nobody's going to experience lights going out or something shutting.
Gotcha.
You know, and as I'm doing this, it's a little bit of a timely thing I'm doing. As I'm doing this, I'm hearing what I'm perceiving as a radio with Christian music on it. By the way, I'm a practicing Christian.
Gotcha.
And so I'm hearing this Christian music, and I'm hearing like a children's choir just going on and on. And it, at first it was quaint, and then after a while it was cute, and then after a while it started to get a little weird and a little annoying. And then I tried to find where it was. Choir was. I'm thinking maybe it's a radio.
What's the upshot? What happened?
So in the morning, the building operation vicar comes in, and he's like, "Oh, you're all done? Oh, this is fantastic." And I'm like, it was fantastic. I just got to know, what was that radio coming from the closet?
Yeah.
And he's like, "What closet?"
What closet? What radio?
And I pointed at this door, and he opens the door, and it's a clean closet with just cleaning supplies in it.
Wow.
And he goes, "You heard music? What kind of music?" I say, "Like a children's choir." And he goes, "You heard the children's choir?" And he goes, "Yes, come with me." And we go upstairs.
All right. I got to get to the end of it, Chris. Go ahead, buddy.
At the entrance of the church.
Yes.
is a cornerstone dedicated to the children of the Titanic. And the cornerstone dedicates the bell chamber from the parents who donated for the bell chamber we were working on.
Chris, Jesus, Chris, that is great. You came through big. That was a big punchline there. What a big finish. That was amazing, dude. Dedicated to the children of the Titanic. Oh my God. Chris, that's nuts. Woof. All right. Paranormal. I love this stuff. It's another side of midnight. All right, gang. And now it's time to sit with our dear, dear girl. We're going to talk about New York City, about the mayor's race. And, so let's talk about the mayor's race right now. And joining us now here on Another Side of Midnight with TJ McCormick is dear friend of the show, dear friend of mine, very, very funny woman, Ellen Karas. Ellen Karas, the Greek goddess of comedy. Good morning, Ellen.
Good morning, TJ.
Hi, welcome back. Ya? I'm good. Better for talking to you. But I think New York City is facing real trouble. And I just wanted to get your take. Everybody, look, I introduce Ellen, as the very, very funny comedian and actor that she is, but she's also, got a background in finance. She's a lifelong, New Yorker and smart as a whip and sees through all the BS. So, Ellen, you're a good resource, and, tell us, what are your takeaways from the debate the other night, the first of the big debates, the three men?
It's been some week. Okay, I listened to your show last night, and your mimicking of the moderators was priceless.
Thank you.
I loved it. TJ, everybody wants to be a celebrity. Politicians, moderators, everybody just wants to get a reality show. I'm just convinced. Yep. They were awful for the most part, except, and I'm sorry, I don't remember her name, the woman with the glasses. I thought she was okay.
Yeah.
At least she had some facts at her fingertips. I apologize.
No, it's fine. No, I forget her name too. She was the least awful.
Yeah, the least awful. So that's sort of the start. Poor Curtis Sliwa, our Mr. Sliwa, okay, who has sacrificed so much for this city. There he is, and you can see the first, after like 5 minutes, he was, after the first question, he was, you could see he was getting ornery, and then he tried to say something, and finally, after 15 minutes, maybe even closer to 20, he was like, excuse me, there are 3 people on the stage. So, that was wasted precious time. And I also agree with you. I mean, 1 minute is just ridiculous. I just don't know.
It's so silly. They all these moderators, you can tell they gear themselves up. They have production meetings. They probably do some mock debating themselves where they have somebody go over and they figure out their best stop you lines. And it just becomes, it's more like you know what it is? When these candidates all across the country, all these debates, when they start talking, I just automatically start waiting for them to be cut off. You know what I mean? I'm waiting for the moderator to jump in.
So I think that they, certainly at least in this debate, that they made it so that the candidates had a shorter amount of time so they can ask dumb questions like, what do you order at a bodega? What parade are you going to go to? Have you ever smoked weed? I mean, what is wrong with these
Mr. Mamdani, everything bagel or plain? You just want to smack them.
Just so ridiculous. Okay, so anyway, so let's kind of cut to the chase.
Yeah.
I think in terms of grades, I think that Curtis certainly tried his hardest. There were times when they asked him a question, who is your favorite president in modern times, and he talks about George Pataki. That's that's not good. I mean, you have to be not on your A game, on your A+++.
Yep. Nailed it. Yes, you're right. Mm-hmm.
So there was a few of that, and then they had asked Andrew Cuomo a question, and then Curtis just starts answering. Again, not a good look.
No.
And, I hate to say this, Curtis, and Andrew Cuomo, they're fighting the young guy.
Yeah.
So you got to look sharp as a tack.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that there was that. But Curtis definitely got some good zingers in, good points in, I should say, about the homelessness. Nobody was really able to argue with him about the homelessness.
Mm-hmm.
So he was good, but he needed to knock it out of the park, and there had to be a game changer for him for the needle to move a little bit.
Right.
So let's move on to Andrew Cuomo.
Mm-hmm.
I still sat there and I'm like, dude, do you want this job?
Right.
Like what you're like, what's the stepping stone? You're not going to run for president. If you are mayor for 4 years, 8 years, then you're going to be in your 70s.
Yeah.
You're not gonna run for president. He's losing his mojo.
Yep.
He still has that arrogance.
Yep.
But he answered some questions very well because he's been
good.
governor.
He's a pro. He's a pro.
Right. So he understood that. And I will say he was very composed and contained.
Right.
And I think that was important because, to be on that stage and to have that weasel on the other end,
yes.
Say the things that he said were awful. But Andrew cannot get away from the harassment suits.
Yep.
And you know what?
And the dead grandparents.
And the nursing homes and then I think it was Curtis, to his credit, talked about how taxpayers were paying your legal fees. We're paying for these settlements. I think that's such an important thing. People don't realize that. Yeah. But to Curtis's credit, he did say something because, listen, 15 women came out. I mean, even me, I'm all 15, and some of these stories were very loosey-goosey. Oh, he put his arm around me. Oh, please stop.
Right.
Okay, come on, stop it. But Curtis goes, you mean the state trooper? Because that one got really shut down.
That one got shut down real quick. That one got settled real fast.
That's right. So he's going to constantly be barraged with that.
Mm-hmm.
And as far as...
And Mamdani's good at that. Mamdani has got that down. He's great at zinging them with those. He knows every avenue to go down to get to those issues, and he uses it effectively. Mamdani's a punk ass, but he is smart.
Right. Well, and those are facts.
Yes. And exactly.
Facts.
Yes.
This is why we can't. It's so hard to embrace Andrew Cuomo because of all these things.
Yep.
I mean, if not, then he, remove those things and then some, and he'd be a decent candidate.
Right.
So that's that. And then as far as the evil one, as I call him, and you were talking about his smile. That ain't a smile. That's a smirk.
It's a smirk.
That's the. I already won.
Yep.
I won in June, everybody, and I'm going to take you down. I'm taking this whole city down. It's going to be different.
Yep.
That's what that is. That whole smirk, and it was the entire time,
Yep.
was sinister. It was something like out of a horror movie.
It is sinister. It's very, and the thing is he's already in that mode. He's already in the do as I say, not as I do. He's already got the rent control department. He's already, he's already living that dictator type, that Marxist life where he's already wealthy. He's a Nepo baby,
Yeah, but I was glad that Cuomo, because Curtis didn't really, but Cuomo went after him about, you worked for your mother.
Yep.
You lived in the rent control apartment.
Yep.
There could have been a lot more about that. Oh, and then Andrew, I thought was very good about, nailing him and his anti-Semitism. I think he did that better than Curtis did.
He
that.
did.
But of course, they gave him more time to do that too.
Now, my take, yes, they did. My take on that is when it comes to the anti-Semitism, the free buses, globalize the Intifada, all of that. Forget defund the police. Just keep hitting them on the police are anti-queer and they're racist and all that. Right. These guys, Cuomo was being too, he did do a good job, but he was too statesmanlike, I think. I think you've got to lose your mind at times with this guy. I think Andrew Cuomo needed to be less Cuomo-esque. I think everybody is tired he used up so much capital with all those daily press conferences, during COVID. So now when he winds up to talk and comes up with that, really, the Cuomo family is the only family with that accent in New York. They've made that up. It's like Queen's patrician. It's weird, but right?
It's a monotone,
that
melodic
thing that he does. But he needs to stop and go, you, Mamdani, you wearing your keffiyeh, wearing your modern day swastika, you just admit it. Say it out loud now. Cause if you're going to win this thing, say it now. You advocate for, you don't have a problem with dead Jews. I mean, he should say, you don't have a problem with dead Jews. He should just say it.
You gotta go for the jugular.
You gotta go for the jugular. I mean, I hate saying that phrase in reference to somebody else. Cause it's,
me too.
Right?
Yeah.
It's like an evil thing to articulate.
Yes. It's really uncomfortable. So here we are.
Mm-hmm.
So nobody had a great night as far as I was concerned. It wasn't like Mamdani really buried, either one of them.
No, Mamdani was defensive for the first time. He was, go ahead.
And to tell you the more that he spoke, the stupider he sounded.
Yes.
So, by the way, he talked about, because they were both, again, more Cuomo, like, how are you going to pay for all that? How are you going to pay? You don't even know how you're going to pay. And he goes, I'm going to raise corporate taxes. You can't raise corporate taxes, you moron.
Right.
That comes from the state level.
Exactly.
I mean, first of all these things, and then Andrew said the whole thing about rent control. He's like, there's only a small amount of rent control apartments. Everybody thinks that this city is filled with rent control apartments. This is not 1978.
Right.
That's done. Every time one of those rent control apartments, somebody dropped dead, that was it. They became de-rent controlled. That was it. End of story.
Yeah.
So it's just the whole thing is so stupid. It's not for the fact that you can't even do it in the first place.
I know. We're talking to Ellen Karas, by the way, everybody. You go to ellenkaras.com. She's at Greek Chick Comic all over social media. Here on Another Side of Midnight with TJ McCormick, 1-800-848-9222. Ellen, so, all right. People are going to be talking about, well, first of all, Cuomo is coasting again. He's been coasting for some time. It's amazing how he's taken his foot off the gas so many times. People are looking at, Curtis's just terribly stagnant numbers. They're just awful. Yeah. So who should drop? I mean, it has to be a mono race, because that is the only hope, because there is a hope, because there is going to be low voter turnout. This thing is going to be in the 20s.
Okay,
so who do you think?
Last time I was on, I had said, when we talked about Curtis, I said, no, first of all, Curtis is not going to drop out. If he's going to drop out, he's not going to drop out until he gets the two debates. He needs to say his piece. There's no way. So
that's a good point.
Nothing's going to happen up till Thursday. He's going to do his thing. I think after that, because Curtis is a very reasonable man, and
he loves this city.
And he loves this city, and he knows it, then I think he's going to drop out. But Curtis always says, why does everybody think that if I drop out, it's a guaranteed? It's still not a guarantee.
Far from it.
So
I think it's over. I mean, I think it's over.
But I don't think it's over. No, I don't think it's over. And everybody keeps saying low voter turnout.
Right.
I don't know. This one's been so contentious. This has been spoken about nationwide.
Yeah.
So, this isn't just a regular little election.
Mm-hmm.
I think we're going to get more people out than you think.
All right.
Just it has to be the right people, obviously.
Right. Yes.
And my Republican friends, please, I beg of you, if Curtis drops out, please don't stay home. Please,
Right.
because that's part of the problem. That's just like going to vote for Curtis and Curtis not winning. I mean, it's just the whole thing is ridiculous. The narrative in this city was supposed to be the best and the brightest, and the things that I hear like make my head spin.
Yep.
They've been talking about that Mandami won from 6 months ago. Whenever he won the primary, they talked about him winning.
June.
No, he didn't win yet.
Right.
It was just ridiculous, and he still hasn't won.
No.
And we have to stop with this brainwashing.
Yeah.
So I think Curtis should, and I think he will.
Mm-hmm.
And
that's an interesting call.
However,
Mm-hmm.
and I think this will happen if it does happen, because Cuomo on Sid's show had paid Curtis a compliment about the homelessness and stuff, and he said something like, maybe he can get a job with the homeless association. That wasn't what the term was, but so I hope that Cuomo says to Curtis, if I win, you're in charge of homelessness.
I think they've already had. I bet you they've already had that conversation. I bet you.
Near and dear to your heart. And let me tell you, everybody, then it's going to be a win for all of us. And do I think Cuomo? What kind of a mayor do I think he would be? I think he would be a little less than decent, but obviously not a Mandami type of situation. No.
In fact, I've been doing battle with.
Less than decent.
I've been doing battle with. I've been doing battle with Andrew Cuomo for 9-10 years now, and I mean, honestly, when it comes to pulling levers of power, when it comes to pushing the buttons of governing, I mean, I bet you he'd be a good mayor. I hate saying it out loud.
He's going to be. I know it's hard, right? You're gagging. Well,
he'd be a good mayor. Damn it!
Here's another thing.
Yeah,
he got a lot of campaign contributions from Republicans, from a lot of Wall Streeters, etc. Yeah. He's indebted to people, so he can't just turn around and be Mr. Libby and Mr. Radical. And he has criticized his own no bail policies.
Yep.
So now he's got to make good on it.
And he wants
to fix it.
And he wants a legacy. He needs something bigger than his recent past to outshine. If he can come in and pull and be a latter day LaGuardia in the great Italian tradition and right this sinking ship. And here's my little prediction. After the Thursday debate, sometime maybe Friday, but that wouldn't be effective. The following, like Monday or Tuesday, I bet you, okay, this would be my way of rolling it out. It would be leaked that Andrew and Curtis had dinner somewhere. Like they had dinner at Rayo's or something, like or Sparks. You know what I mean? Like they went to, or, Smith and Walensky.
I don't think Curtis wants to go to some
place
actually, where somebody got shot once.
Yeah, good point. He probably has an aversion to, bullet-riddled, lobbies. So, but definitely, that's my little PR comms guy instinct is, I think they're going to soft roll that alliance and that eventual news that Curtis would drop by leaking that the two of them had dinner, and then maybe a photo of the two of them coming out or something. You know what I mean? That would be the indication that they're talking, and they would make it public. And that's how they would then, and that would lead up to like 24 hours later, there'd be a press conference.
Okay.
That's my guess. I like that. That's very New York.
That's okay.
That's my little thing.
Well, I think we're. I don't know if if that exact scenario will play out, but something's going to definitely, I believe, play out. But speaking of Fiorello LaGuardia, did you hear what Andrew Cuomo said when asked about favorite mayor, other than his response to other than the response that he gave that was Fiorello LaGuardia?
I missed
said
it.
David Dinkins. He said David Dinkins.
Really?
He said, yeah. I'm like, what? Like, what?
That's weird.
So I don't know if he was trying to toe the Democrat line or...
Gang, we've got to take a quick break here. It is 49 minutes past the hour. We're talking to Ellen Karas about the New York mayor's race and a bunch of other things in New York City. It is Another Side of Midnight with me, TJ McCormick, on the Red Apple Audio Network.
all night long. This is Another Side of Midnight
with TJ McCormack.
77 WABC. It's Another Side of Midnight.
Political humorist TJ McCormack.
Now, to the Bernard McGurk studios of 77 WABC.
Here's TJ McCormack.
All right. Good morning. Good morning. 52 past the hour. Woo! All right. You don't have to go home, but you can't stay here. Last call for alcohol. Last call for calls. It's, we got a couple minutes, so you know what we'll do? We'll go to a couple of great veteran standbys here. Joaquin in Pennsylvania. Good morning, brother.
Hey, good morning, TJ. Hey, did you say that your wife's birthday is February 2nd or 3rd?
3rd, yes, 3rd.
It's the same as my wife's.
Whoa, that's trippy. There we go. Look at that small world.
Yeah, I was like, I thought I heard. I was like, wait a second.
Yeah. Yeah, and my daughter, my oldest, is February 2nd. Because when we had a scheduled delivery and, the doctor said, no, you can't have the same birthday. We got to split this up. And he's one of those doctors with a God complex. So he decided that our daughter would be born on February 2nd.
That was pretty bad because my oldest daughter, my wife was in labor for like 36 hours and I kept hoping that she was holding on until the 4th of July.
Funny.
And she did.
So AI, you think it's pretty nefarious, huh?
Yeah, I think it's going to be the Antichrist when it really comes right down to it.
Yeah.
That or Islam, you know. Unfortunately, I can't believe the way people are falling for this Mamdani guy. And, you know, you take a good look even over in England, you know. I watched a video recently of a judge sentencing some guy to jail for 2 years because he posted on his social media that he didn't want his tax dollars going to, you know, to migrants.
It's become a daily occurrence over there. What they are playing games with, accusing our administration of doing here, is happening regularly to conservatives over in the UK. I tell my family, my extended family in the UK, young people, these young woke nephews of mine over in the UK, and I tell them, I say, brother, look, man, I'm not trying to convert you to be some kind of conservative. I'm like, but you know what? If your ability to espouse these woke ideologies and beliefs, you're going to have that taken away from you because ultimately free speech is just, it's on its way out in the UK and free speech, the right and the First Amendment here in America is the basis for all of our other rights. It's the oxygen for all of our rights to exist in. And they're losing it every single day over in the UK.
And, you know, and like you had said, even all of these countries over there are losing their heritage, you know, their culture, their identity. You know, and they're throwing it away. And unfortunately, you know, unless people really open up their eyes, I mean, I read the Quran cover to cover. I read the Bible cover to cover 2 or 3 times, you know, and unfortunately, you know, Islam demands submission. And so as they come into these countries, they're not assimilating to these cultures. And the problem is that the leadership in these countries, they want the one world government, which is in the biblical end times prophecies.
Scary stuff. It's scary.
And it's the same thing with AI. And, you know, what's the real sad thing is that AI is taking away more and more, you know, as they go, you know, you're going to have self-driving cars, self-driving trucks, you know, and it's basically going to take away everything that makes humans. In other words, your desire to go out to accomplish things, to do things, you know, and that's all being infringed on. And that's the only thing I can say is it's compromising humanity.
100%, man. Thank you, brother. I got to get over to one last call and close the show. Thank you, Joaquin. As always, tell your wife I said hello. Mike Huge.
Hello, TJ.
Hey,
Joaquin. Way to go, Joaquin. Way to make it short once in a while. just once in a while. Rim shot, yeah. I'll tell you what. I'll make it quick. I always get to my point.
Yes, sir.
With Mandami, he's a disgrace.
Yep.
His salvo was either from one of his comrades or one of his relatives that New York deserved 9/11. Really, and I'll tell you, Curtis, it's a Democratic city. I'd like to see him as mayor, but he's the chips are down against him.
I know.
And one last thing.
Sure.
One last thing.
Yeah.
And there's Eric Adams, who dropped out. Eric Adams was a thug wearing a $5,000 suit.
Mm-hmm.
And he's lucky he got pardoned by Trump.
Yeah.
And I'll tell you what, TJ.
Yes.
Always good to hear you.
Yeah.
And I'm glad you kicked that guy off your show.
He tried to sneak in, I think, one time last week. But, we took care of that. Thank you, Mike. So anyway, gang, listen, this has been, I knew this was going to be a really good show. I knew it because as the music came up and as Bill looked at me through the glass, I had no idea what was going to be the first thing out of my mouth. There's a whole bunch of options in front of me and I couldn't decide until I spoke. And that's usually the recipe for a really good show. You know why? Because of you guys. Because you're there picking me up. You guys, and of course, the lovely light of my life, in addition to my beautiful wife, lovely Erica, who is always there for me and always will be. And I think if I had the time, I think I might just might have the time to be able to tell her, Erica, good night, honey. It was nice talking to you, and I'll see you in my pajama pocket very shortly.
It's Another Side of Midnight, 77 WABC.
If you're looking to create, grow, and sustain your wealth, download and subscribe to the Pain Points of Wealth podcast at BeBullish.com with Bob, Ryan, and Chris Payne. It's your podcast for market insights, money tips, and real talk on the economy.
Download and subscribe
at BeBullish.com.